question number 1, Mr. Heslop George of Falmouth, who is not in attendance, so I'll ask my Vice Chairman to read his question.
Vegan diets result in 75% less GHG emissions and land use than diets with 100 grams of meat daily. They cut wildlife destruction by 66% and water use by 54%. Will Cornwall join 24 councils, including Edinburgh, Exmouth and Norwich, by endorsing the plant-based treaty and developing a plant-based food strategy?
I will ask Councillor Alvey, Portfolio Holder for Environment and Climate Change, to reply.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Heslop George, for your question. Recently, Cornwall Council has almost unanimously supported motions in support of our local farmers and growers, and separately our fishers. Cornwall Council recognises that if we are to address the challenges of climate change, biodiversity decline and the crisis in public health, we must tackle the fundamental issues in our food and farming systems. The debate about the role of livestock in climate-friendly farming systems has become too simplistic, reduced to animals versus plants. This fails to differentiate between livestock that are part of the problem and those which are a key part of the solution. Cutting all meat consumption is not the simple answer. Instead, we must look at the sustainability of all foods, both plant and animal-based, and make a more nuanced choice about what we should eat to be healthy and sustainable. On the basis of how these foods are produced and harvested, I can confidently state that those choosing a plant-based diet are not being ignored by the Council. Improving on-farm productivity levels, reducing artificial fertiliser use, making more use of homegrown forage, making better use of livestock manure, especially on farms with no livestock, reducing energy use, supporting on-farm renewable generation that is used on-site, as well as taking steps to improve biodiversity and nature recovery on all farms are all tools we can use. These will help farmers transition towards a more secure and sustainable livelihood that will contribute rather than detract from our climate objectives. As consumers, we also have a role to play in this agenda. The choice about what food we buy and where we buy it is important. In an ideal world, we should align our diets as far as reasonably possible with what can be produced sustainably in the region in which we live, as relocalising our food system is an important factor in our own personal climate impact. The work of our carbon neutral team, the support we are providing the emerging Cornwall Sustainable Food Network, our work on nature recovery and biodiversity net gain, and the work we are doing to support the agricultural industry to transition are designed to deliver a system change, but this change will take time. The Constitution for Cornwall Council enables any councillor with a seconder and 3 supporters to bring forward a motion on the lines suggested by your question. And I know that in the years that I have been a councillor, the members frequently receive a chain email with the same content. Given that the economy of Cornwall relies heavily on farming and to a lesser extent fishing, and the majority of those farm businesses are livestock and dairy based for sound agricultural business reasons, you will understand why nobody has ventured to bring forward such a motion.